Welcome to the Relationship Revivalist podcast. My name is John, and I'm here with my co-host, Jess.
Hey, John, how are you doing?
I'm doing absolutely wonderful. Thanks for asking, and how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
That is good. So today, we've got another podcast lined up for everyone here. And today, what are we going to talk about?
Oh, I'm really excited about this one. We're going to talk about love. Ooh. But we're going to especially talk about some aspects of love and what the Bible says about love.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. The Bible pretty much is all about love, and just think about how thick that Bible is. And so we could really talk about love for ages, right?
Absolutely. And who wrote the Bible? Love did.
Yes.
God is love. That's
wow,
so cool.
That is so cool. So I'll let you start in, and we'll dig into what we have for everyone today.
Okay, yeah. First of all, we're going to talk about some aspects of, we're going to take three different aspects. Something that love is not. And then what love is.
All right, that's
excited?
fair.
Are you ready?
That is awesome.
Okay, let's dive in.
All right.
So first of all, we wanted to talk about selfishness. Ooh.
And this one might be, it might trip people up a little bit because, you know, there is a degree of selfishness in all of us, really. So
absolutely.
what exactly are we talking about here? I mean, if we all have this selfishness, at least a little tinge of it, it means we're all guilty about it, so what do we do?
Selfishness is a natural thing. It can help preserve your life, because you don't want to get hurt or some things like that. But we can take it way too far, and we can try to always get our own way.
Oh, you mean kind of like the what can he or she do for me?
Exactly. Yeah, so like when you're looking to choose a mate, or maybe you've already chosen your mate, it shouldn't be based on what they can do for you, right, John?
Right. This is so true. And I think experiencing life the way I have, I would say a lot of the relationships that I had could have been better if there was not as much selfishness involved. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I would say even myself included, because I was still growing.
Yeah, and like when you're young, people are naturally selfish when they're young, right? But as we get older and become adults and become more mature, that's a mark of maturity, is losing some of that selfishness.
Yeah, it really is. And when you're younger, you're thinking, "Oh, what are those old fogies talking about?" They're old. They don't know what life is all about. I mean, we're young and we can do the things that we want to do and in the timing that we want to do them, and we can have it our way, just like Burger King. This is not sponsored by Burger King, by the way. But yeah, so when you have a mature relationship, love would say... that you're not going to have any selfishness. You're not going to... and
instead of saying, what can he do for me? It would be, what can I do for him?
Yeah, and you and I were talking earlier today at dinner, at a little celebration dinner, and I made a comment saying, well, you would look at some of these relationships that are doing really well, and I bet you... I bet you dinner on the town. No, just joking. That you could look at one of the key traits to these marriages, and they would be more giving towards one another than what can you do for me kind of a relationship. Yeah, and
a relationship can really start to feel one-sided if you have one person who feels like they're really in it for the long haul, and then you have the other part of that relationship just going out and doing whatever they want to, whenever they want to. I mean, would that work very well?
Not very much at all.
That doesn't work at all.
And basically, and you said that when you sign those papers for a wedding and a marriage, you're basically signing away your right to be selfish.
Yeah, when you say I do, selfishness needs to be thrown out the window.
That's right. The other thing that, maybe is a misnomer, you hear people say, well, my marriage is a 50-50 marriage. What do we say to that?
Boo.
Yeah.
I mean, no, it's the wrong answer.
Right, it really is. I mean, seriously, do you want your spouse giving you half of what they can do?
Oh, absolutely not. If you just do half a good job,
Or here's even a better way to
or
put
paint
it.
half a wall,
Right.
it's not going to work.
So even a better way to put it, instead of them giving you 50%, how about you giving them 50%? Because this is what we're talking about, selfishness. We want to be able to give 100% to our spouse.
And would you feel good if all you're doing is 50% all the time when you know you could do better?
Yeah, at your job, for your kids, for your family, it just would add up to mediocre at best.
Right, and really kind of failure, because if you get 50% on a test, that's an F.
Absolutely.
So we want to look at it as it's not 50-50, it's 100-100. So if you both are giving your all the time, which I know it's asking a lot, but we want that explosive love in our marriages, right?
Exactly.
And this is one way to do it. This is huge. So 100-100.
Exactly. So let's move on to the next one.
Okay.
The next one is...
something that love is not, or does not get angry quickly.
Oh, so we're talking anger here, huh?
Ooh, yeah, anger.
So...
And that can be a real tough one, because there are times where maybe your spouse does something really stupid, or something where you maybe out of the blue and you're like, how could you do that? Or maybe it's something that they keep doing and it's making you angry. Mm-hmm. And you're wondering, how could you do that? What were you thinking?
Yeah, and even like, Jesus, you look at in the Bible, Jesus got angry. He tossed the tables up and was angry, yelled at everyone for selling in the
synagogue.
Synagogue, yes, that was the word I was looking for. So yeah, Jesus got angry, so that just tells you it's not a sin to get angry, but it is.
But you're not supposed to sin when you get angry. Ooh.
Exactly. So there's the catch there. And excuse me. So I think when you say being angry, you want to say that love is something that you are slow to anger, right?
Yeah, love says I am slow to anger.
And so how do you do something that like how would you handle this whole scenario? How would you be in that moment and say, hey, I'm upset at my spouse for this, for whatever reason it is, and maybe they've done it over and over and over again, so your frustration level is already up there, and love says I am slow to anger.
That's asking a lot.
It really is. So if you are slow to anger, you've got to literally take a hold of your words. You've got to say, I'm not going to say these words right now because I don't want to have to regret them later on.
Yeah, and hurtful words that are said last longer than the thing that made you angry in the first place. So if you remember that, be slow to anger and be slow to say words in that moment.
Yeah. And here's another little tip that you could take to help you to be slower in your anger. Take and put yourself in your spouse's shoes and then think about how do they feel. And, maybe there's some spouses that would just feel no remorse at all. Okay, fine. There's always that scenario, but you have to think. But
that's kind of the outlier. The normal reaction is to feel really bad about something that you did that wasn't right.
Right. Over and over again. Yeah. So you really have to put yourself into their shoes and say, hey, I am not going to say these things. I'm not going to go flying off the handle because maybe you've done these things over and over. Maybe you've just forgotten. I'm just going to forgive it. I'm going to move forward. Because
your spouse really might be feeling a lot of remorse or maybe some fear too.
Yeah.
At your reaction. Like, what are they going to think of me? What are they going to say? And so when you have compassion toward your spouse in that situation, it really actually helps them and helps them to kind of move on as well, quicker, and hopefully it'll help them to maybe not make the same mistakes again.
Yeah, hopefully, because if you if your spouse is doing things over and over again that are making you upset, either there's some resentment in the whole relationship there, or there's some forgetfulness, or there's many reasons really why this could happen. But, essentially what I'm driving at is you need to pray for your spouse, and that they would get the mindset of just changing what they're doing. And maybe you give them a goal so that they know where you want them. Not that you're trying to change them or anything, but it's something we all give each other goals to strive for.
Right, out of respect. If we know that our spouse doesn't like something, hopefully we stop doing that thing. If it's a detrimental kind of a thing, like if it's annoying or whatever, hopefully you'd stop doing that.
So anger is one of those things that just it can be more than just annoyance. It can actually be a physical thing where you have a hard time stopping. So there's spiritual overtones to it as well.
Absolutely.
But there's
always taking a step back, taking a breath, maybe removing yourself from the situation if it's that kind of emotion that it's bringing out, and then working through it together.
Exactly.
Okay, we have one more to talk about today, and this might be hard for the ladies.
Uh-oh. So turn it up, is that what you're saying?
What? Oh, ladies. That's a good one, John. No, but we're kind of where we were talking about being slow to anger, and what if your spouse keeps doing something over and over again? It's really hard to not keep score.
And ladies, I know maybe you think that this is a girl thing, or a lady thing. There are men out there that keep score as well. Maybe it's more of the pendulum is more towards the ladies' side, but there are men out there that do keep score. So don't take this as a one-directional stab or what have you.
This is true. Thanks for keeping it real and even for us, John. That was
my
good.
job.
Fair. Okay. So, for men and women, it's easy to pull out, the chart that says all the wrongs that have happened in the last, how many years, and over one thing. And so and I know that I've really had to work on this one too. Like something might happen, and then, oh, you promised you would do this or wouldn't do this, and you just lay out all the things. But you know what? Whenever I've done that, and I drive it home. I'm really good at that too.
Yes, she is.
Whenever I've done that, though, I never walk away feeling good about it. I always feel yucky afterwards. And it's like, why did I do that? And so that's something that I've really had to work on in our relationship. So I'm just being transparent and honest here. But in working on that, it's helpful to remember that love says, I don't keep score. It keeps no record of wrongs. It says in 1 Corinthians 13, love keeps no record of wrongs. And I really think, Jesus is asking a lot in that verse.
Well, yeah, to be perfect, it does ask a lot. I mean, we were created perfect, so why can't we be perfect?
Exactly.
We have a bar here to reach for, and I'm just saying, you can do all you can to be that way, but know that we still need to be human.
And it's really helpful in that when you're trying not to keep score to remember, I always believe the best about you. I always trust that you will do your best. So if we respond with that love and that compassion and that trust, because love trusts as well. We trust that they're going to do the right thing, that they're not going to do that again. It really helps our spouse to sort of live up to that. Not that you're trying to control them with an expectation, but when they really do feel loved and really do feel genuinely trusted by you, it really helps them. Just like, if you turn the tables, if you feel like, your husband or your wife doesn't trust you, it's hard to
Then you have nothing to live up for.
Exactly. It's hard to, if it's something that you keep stumbling upon, it's hard to make it right.
Yeah. My heart goes out to the couples that are dealing with spouses that may be going out on them. Mm-hmm. And, maybe you're in a position that you have a newborn and that's a tough situation where you've got to take care of your family, but your husband is out on a quote unquote business trip, and that turns into something that you don't even want to hear at all. I mean, it's just those kind of situations are not right, and there's a reason why this is happening. But know that there's always a good ending as long as you stay in God's hands under His wing, and trust Him with all of your life, because He's the one that created us. He's the one that ultimately loves us in a perfect way. So if we have that perfect love, we know that maybe our spouse is going to see that and will be, wow, where did you get this? I want some of that. And that might be the answer to you saving a marriage. There's always different ways, but God is first and foremost in saving any marriage, really, to make it any kind of a long-lasting marriage.
Right, and John, just like you said, there are very, very difficult situations, beyond difficult, that it's would be absolutely terrible to hear, like that your spouse did, or things like that, and it has to be each individual choice. There are certain things that it's like a non-negotiable. Really, and no one would blame you or fault you for wanting to end that marriage. And so it really has to be each individual choice with God on, what you're going to do about it. But the important thing is to keep God in it.
So we want to end, and we're just going to read this verse out to you, 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7. And it goes, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. So we want to leave you with that. And
remember, God is love, and love is the strongest power in the universe.
Yeah, and don't forget, we have an ebook that you can download if you go to our website at therelationshiprevivalists.com/7 secrets. And as the name implies, we do have 7 secrets that are going to help you with your relationship in an absolutely amazing way. Just got to apply them. That's all we ask you to do. So that being said, we are going to wrap up today. We thank you so much for giving us your time and attention. Don't forget to go onto iTunes and give us a review. We really would appreciate that. And we will see you on the next podcast next week.
See you later.